I'm Sheldon Alexander, and I played Fear.
I'm Julian Lowenthal, and I played Keith.
I'm Justin Malarski, and I played Locksmith.
Hi, I'm Kevin Sorby, and I played Bones on the movie Silenced.
I'm Michael Glazier. I play Dennis Shea. Dennis Shea is our filmmaking ghost from the movie Silenced.
My name's Chris Doobie, and in the movie Silenced, I played the White Death, who was sort of like the menacing leader of the gang of vigilante burglars.
My name's Terrence McFadden Jr. My friends, they call me Terry, and I played the role of Sly in the movie Silence by Julian Lowenthal.
The food.
The epic battle that I had with Sly.
I would have to say, interacting with all the actors on set, everyone had fun, and everyone brought their own thing to the table, so it's a pretty awesome time.
My favorite part of making Silence was definitely the death scene. I definitely like doing the death scene. Because it was just so natural, the way, like, everything, like, flowed. And, like, I finally could, like, this was, like, my only stunt, really, in Silence, so I had to make it good.
I can't just pick one of my favorite moments, because truthfully, my favorite part of making Silence was the whole process of making the movie. You know, from the vision to the script to what we see on screen. And I just thought that whole process was a very beautiful, magical process, and that truly was my favorite part.
My favorite part of making Silenced was being able to sort of do things and talk to people in a way that is very far detached from what I normally do, like stuff that you'd get arrested for. And it's just sort of being a scenery-chewing bad guy that slaps his henchmen around and yells and screams when he doesn't get his way. It's good to let that out once in a while.
Favorite part of making Silenced, other than making, some connections with some good friends, people who I still stay in touch with, always wondering about what they're doing, this and that. Tell you the truth, and this is what makes me love it, is that indie vibe. I mean, everybody's there for a reason. I mean, nobody's getting paid a crazy amount of money. People are there to be there because they want to be there, and it is just a collection of individuals who are working towards a goal. And when people come together on a project and work together to see that project from start to finish, I mean, man, it really doesn't get any better than that.
Hardest part to shoot, I'd say, would be laying on that floor for 4 hours.
Rolling a joint. In gloves.
Scene with Zoe and I.
The hardest thing to shoot in Silence was the conclusion. I had a lot of ideas for that, and I wanted to figure out what would be the best to really finish the story and wrap it all up. And even though it did come to be how it is, that was definitely the hardest challenge that I had to face during production.
When I auditioned for the role, I only knew that it was a gang leader, and so I brought like a certain level of what that was to there. Running around in what I affectionately described as a ball gown was a little difficult for me. A little tight around the ankles, so a lot of the going up and down stairs, I almost took a tumble a couple of times, but I got used to it by the end.
We did a scene where I just had to stand up and walk up a set of stairs, and for whatever reason, that scene took 23 or 24 takes, and it was a true eye into filmmaking versus theatrical acting and live theater. The idea that you got to capture that footstep just right, and that standing up has to transition just so. It was an interesting thing.
The hardest scene to film was the scene in the basement. We discovered our first body, and we were trying to figure out what was going on. And it was, while we were shooting that scene, it was so cold. Like, it was wintertime when the scene was being shot, and we wanted to get a lot of different angles, and it was just trying to, like, think of the beach and remember my lines at the same time. It was just so, like, so cold down in that basement, and we kept doing takes. One more take, two more takes, one more take again. All right, two more, one more, and then it was just then it was finally done, and then I got to warm up.
The strangulation in the bathroom.
The coffee. Nah, the camaraderie in it. We had a bunch of amazing actors. The cast and crew were phenomenal. Kudos to James and his sound work. We pretty much made a family for the whole months that we were shooting. It was great.
Fondest memories. I guess just the true dedication of the cast and crew of putting in the long hours of hard work, and not once do I recall any of them complaining about it. And that just meant a lot. Everyone coming together to make it happen.
The theater being cold. So what you guys don't realize is while we were acting, that theater was like 0 below. It was freezing cold, and we still pushed through it, dying like take after take after take, just.
I have to say, when I first got accepted as Bones, because I'd never been in a full-on movie before, and this one had a cast, crew, all that. First time on a film set. Loved it. I always wanted to be an actor growing up, and this was my real chance to do so. So, yeah, definitely thankful for that.
My fondest memory of Silenced was probably our first read-through, where we got most of the cast together at Colleen's house, and just sort of heard what it sounded like. And I was like the old guy in the cast, so like a lot of the other actors like around sort of really seemed to respond to the way that I was taking the voice and the menace of it, and they really seemed to like what I was doing, and that really pumped me up.
Location was freaking dynamite, man. Turner's Falls and that theater we were in, the Shea, was freaking, I mean, you can't ask for more. We had full access, literally full access, and we had at it all night. All freaking night. And I just think having the access to a location that kind of made you want to do something made it all that better. You know, we could have been at somebody's house, and we weren't. We were like on scene, on location, at a theater that has some history to it.
Main thing I changed is probably just bigger budget. Like, budget was low, we didn't have much to work with, but for what we got, it was pretty cool.
I don't know that I would have placed it in Turner's Falls. I think I might have done a fictitious town, given it a little bit of a new name, just to give it its own personality and not have it tied to anything else.
What's wrong with Silenced? Well, I mean, I could give a whole list of everything, but the number one problem with Silenced was my performance, and I apologize for how much that sucked.
There needs a little bit more elaboration on the ghost. Nobody's quite sure what's going on there. It's very random. It needs a little bit more background behind it. She thinks so too.
I thought the guy that played Dennis Shea did a great job. But in watching the movie, I didn't really grasp, and a lot of people that I watched the movie with since then sort of had a hard time grasping that Dennis Shea was a ghost. And I think maybe that might have been a little different.
I would say, just so to be more inclusive, I would the sexual undertones. You know what I'm saying? Every movie's different, and me personally, I'm very different for what like media shows, and like so like I have more of like a like, oh, maybe that shouldn't have been showed too much kind of thing, but everybody's different. But for me, I'll probably say that.
I think I would change how I went about a specific role, because I've thought about it a lot. I put myself in a position that, kind of overpowers a woman. And I know that's not right. For the role, that's what I had to do. But I mean, it kind of haunts me in general, because no matter what role you play, you get in a headspace that you want to become the character and really feel for it. And I think over time, especially when the film was, after we got done filming, I just thought about things a lot different. And being in that role, in that fantasy world, it just really made me think that, you know what, there are these monsters out there. There are these kind of people out there that do that. And now I'm just such an advocate for, you know what, if shit happens to you, you damn better say something. You better say something and bag these motherfuckers up real quick, real quick.
I'd have to say the ending, because that one showed like the most emotion to me, and yeah, definitely had a really scary element to it.
My favorite part of the movie was taking a fake glass bottle across the side of the head. That was something that I've always wanted to do. I get slapped in the face a lot in the stuff that I do, but I always kind of wanted a bottle broken over my head, and I got to get that done. That was cool.
So my favorite part watching Silence is the fighting scenes. I love how they came together. I'm very proud of it, and it was just, to me, very smooth. Just Alexis kicking people's ass or getting his ass kicked. I love how it came out.
My favorite scene to watch was when Crusher fought. That fight scene was, I like that one, and it was real intense. I didn't know who to root for.
I want to say when Sly is slowly popping his head out the door, and you don't really notice it. Only if you look close enough, you can just see his eye and his mask popping out. It's very eerie and very, very spooky. It's a really good shot.
I really like when Alexa starts kicking revenge into full gear. He starts to come alive and starts to feel a little emboldened after that first hit. That first kill, we just see a new monster emerge from that character.
Favorite part? Michael Glazer played Dennis Shea. Every time he was on screen, I wanted to know more. It was kind of creepy to me. But he was like this undercover detective, dude. He's just this undercover detective, and I wanted to know more, but he was always there when something fucking really bad happened. Really bad. Every time he was on screen, you knew that it was juicy. God, people get murdered, and this guy is in the corner just watching. I don't know.
Well, I heard Julian was making this film, and I was like, yeah, I probably want to get in on that. And I went auditioned for the part of Bones, and yeah, I got the part, and then hit it off from there.
Julian, I owed him a favor. I pulled Julian into several different stage productions, oftentimes last minute, and oftentimes just kind of threw him in the deep end. So he had the film going, and I just kind of felt like time to let him be the boss and let him be the director. After acting with me as the director for so many things, it was really nice to see his style and, see the things that he'd picked up along the way.
Please don't tell me it was a Craigslist post. Was it a Craigslist post? I think it was a Craigslist post. And I was typing away at many emails. I was just looking for what I could find, something in the area. And then, Julian hit me up, and I was like, oh, there's an audition. No, I think it was maybe it was Facebook. There was like an invite for an audition, open audition, and I walked in. I was nervous. I really was, and I was like, I don't know how this is gonna go. I'm gonna do my best. It's my first audition. And I didn't know what to expect, but I was glad for the opportunity, definitely, and I did my best, and here I am.
There was an online call. I'm not exactly sure if it was Craigslist or because I was sort of scouring whatever I could find at the time. I just sort of got involved in a series called Paragods and had done a couple of 48-hour film projects, and I wanted to see kind of how far it would go. And I found out they were casting this indie horror movie down in Mass, which you didn't need to be SAG to do. And kind of on a whim, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go for it. Maybe get to play one of the like knockaround guys, or given my look, like a drug dealer or a untrustworthy type fellow. Never thought that I would be, the head screwball of that crew. And was very, very touched and flattered that I got it.
I've worked with the director before on a couple of different films. I also worked with the producer on several other films. They called me in, like, Justin, I want you to try out for this movie. I have a feeling you'd be good for it. I got a few roles, and I have a couple in mind that I think you'd be perfect for. So I came in, I tried out, and Julian, our director, is like, no, I loved you in the roles that you tried out for, but I specifically loved you the most as Locksmith.
I initially got involved with silence when I was 22. I've always been interested to make a movie, but I never knew what I wanted to make it about. So after working on several other people's projects that didn't go anywhere, I got a bit frustrated and wanted to finish something. So I decided to get all the people I know, all the people they know together and make a film. And this is how Silence came to be.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, but I would approach it a different way.
Yes. Yeah. Cast, crew. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, without a doubt. It unlocked a lot of like confidence. Like you're always worried going into, especially like a big role when you're working with somebody else's money. Like, am I going to let these people down? Am I going to be good enough? And like after the first couple of get-togethers, like I really felt like I belonged, and that has stayed with me since Silenced. Like I feel like I can walk in, and I'm not saying I'm going to be trading blows with Robert De Niro, but I'd like to take a crack at him.
Do Silenced again? Definitely. Like if I had the opportunity, definitely, because I know the character and I know like the expectation, and like, I can have fun with it and see where where it takes me, and we did a lot of work on the script, and like, oh, maybe Fear would do this, or who knows what Fear would do next, and who knows what Fear would get into. So he's in it for he's here to make a quick buck on the side, but he's also down to the system.
Would I do it again? Yes, but I would make it much better.
I've got to say Goonies.
I gotta say my favorite movie of all time is Fight Club, because every time I watch it, I always see something new.
What's my favorite movie of all time? Maybe Big Fish? Possibly Big Fish. I might want to say Big Fish.
Well, franchise-wise, I'd have to say Jurassic Park. I love dinosaurs. I love the whole setup of it. And phenomenal film.
Oh man, my favorite movie of all time. Honestly, it's gonna be a toss-up between American History X and The Truman Show. There we go. Yeah.
Favorite movie of all time would have to be, it's a tie. Aviator or Flyboys. Straight up. I think I have like a fascination with airplanes and flying. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, man. I'm a filmmaker, so that depends on the day. Sorcerer by William Friedkin is great. Boogie Nights is probably like my all-time favorite dialogue movie. Most of the stuff Tarantino does, I get a real kick out of. But, I mean, it can go on and on. The Godfather, subcategories, all that stuff.
The piano, that lead role.
So even though I have no idea who I would have played, I would have loved to be in The Wolf of Wall Street.
If they ever do a remake of Kelly's Heroes, which they ought to never do because it's a great classic, but the only caveat is, if they did get to make that movie and I get the role of Oddball, the Donald Sutherland role, like I think I'd love to take a crack at that.
You know what? I'd have to say one of the Deadpool movies, because I love Ryan Reynolds' sense of humor in that, and it looks like the first one, the crew had a whole bunch of fun, and I would have loved to play an extra because that looked like a lot of fun on set.
Well, if they ever make a sequel to Sons of Anarchy, I'd really love to play Abel, Jax's son. I feel like you can make a really, really good script out of that.
That's a very good question. That's a very tough question. A movie I would like to have acted in. You know what? I think I could pull off the. I think I could pull off, the Black Panther being what's his name, Michael B. Jordan. I think I could pull that off. Yeah, hit the gym a little bit, then pull on, get the Michael B. Jordan role. Call it a day. I'll be Killmonger.
Any role that Ben Mendelsohn's been a part of, I think he's brilliant. I also think Johnny Depp. I love the actors that when you actually watch the film, you don't know their name. You know them as the character. Look at you ever see The Fighter? The Fighter, Christian Bale's character. Oh my God, that's a freaking dream. That is a dream.
My buddy and I, we did films way back in the day. Nothing too major, just like films for fun, only like 2 minutes and such. I was in Florida for a couple months, and then online I met Julian, and he was waiting to film, and I wanted to get into acting and all that, so I decided to contact him, and we first met. We hit it off pretty cool.
I've always been very physically inclined, and I've always been interested in just make-believe and being in pretend world and just playing different characters. Ever since I was a little kid, I always had fun pretending to be every single character in a movie, or pretending to be every single character in a scene, the good guys, the bad guys, and I would just battle myself.
I got into acting by being a poet, doing spoken word. When I was in high school, my last couple of years in high school, I decided to do poetry. I made a couple poems, and then I was introduced to spoken word, and I loved how it was presented. And then from there, I started doing more hip hop stuff, started doing more poetry, then started doing plays, and then now I was like, you know what, let's do movies. I like goofing off. I like, copying people. So I really think I could do acting too.
There's a program in Berlin called Horror Fest. We have a festival, River Fire, and we set the river on fire. These little islands in the middle. The whole community comes out. It's great. It's like a fair that takes place in the fall. And they did a spooky show, like a spooky attraction, a walkthrough tour. And I got asked to do it. I don't know exactly why. I started working on it, and I found out that I really, really loved hamming it up as a villain. And that led me to get involved in the 48-hour film project. And from there, it was like a monster. I found like the place where I really felt like I belonged.
I legitimately was to meet girls. Was really, if I'm being honest, that was the idea. And then, a lot of the girls you meet in the world of theater and acting, great people, but not necessarily people you'd want to be involved with. And the same goes for us, men on the other side. I mean, it takes a certain kind of person to want to be somebody else for a while. So, I came for that, and I really just liked being able to escape real life for a little while. It's a little bit like a drug where you get to step into somebody else's skin, and you get to be somebody else, and you don't have to think about your problems because you've got these other problems that have to guide you. So, yeah, that's what got me into acting. And then people said I wasn't bad at it, and I guess that was enough to keep me going.
I started off actually writing lyrics and writing music, and then I found my way into doing radio. And then from there, we were shooting an interview with an artist, Fred the Godson, and the videographer that we brought was actually making a movie, an indie film. And he says, "Hey Justin, you got this face that I'm looking for, and I want you to really come out and try out for this part that I wrote. So I'm like, all right, I'll think about it. And then my little co-host at the time, Fury's like, "Yo, you need to go do that right now. Now, you need that exposure. Just go. I don't care if you get the part. Go." So I went, and I ended up landing one of the lead roles of the movie. So one part led to another, and by word of mouth, I Acted in several movies and commercials from since then.
Keep a long story short, I sat down at the kitchen table with my Uncle Dick. My uncle's one of the most successful men I know. And I told him that I wanted to be an actor, and he asked me how am I going to do it. And I never really thought about it. I just liked the idea of doing it. And I did some research that night. I got affiliated with a couple groups around town. I started working with Emerson College, and I got my first start on a Dorsey Britton film, What Up, Dorsey? And it started snowballing from there. It really started snowballing from there. And then I just got more immersed. And it's hard, you know. But that's kind of the story about how I truly got involved in acting and really doing it. So I think I've been acting all my life, to tell you the truth. I'm not going to lie to you. I really do. But to actually be on camera, that was the first time that I actually took a step in a direction of making movies.
Market.
I'd have to say the road's hard, make it big, but don't give up. You keep going, just do your passion.
Take classes. Classes are extremely important, especially in the professional industry.
The advice I would give is to always be yourself, and then at the same time, just like always push yourself to new limits. Explore new boundaries. Really get into character, really submerge yourself in feeling and emotion, practice more feelings and emotions, I guess, for those that want to get into acting.
Get your face in as many things as you can.
The advice I would give to anyone who wants to act in theater, movies, or what may it be, is to never give up, but besides that very important cliche advice, to also film little snippets of yourself, find out what you're good at, play different roles, and then take these snippets and make it real. That still is a great beginning before you can take clips from actual movies and shows you've been on. Just start acting, show what you can do. This way, potential managers or agents can see what you have to work with.
Numbers are important, emails are important.
Most of your competition will be flakes and weirdos and unreliable. So if you show up on time and you are close to knowing your lines and you have a can-do attitude and are willing to help out where needs be, you're going to rise quick. People no-show, particularly on the indie scene. People flake out in the middle of the production and leave. And if you can show yourself to be a reliable person and bring whatever professional attitude you can, you'll be great. And the other thing is, unless you're dealing with a really, really traumatic scene, like a kid dying or something, or like really, really high drama, try to keep it light and try to keep people laughing and enjoy the time that you have with actors, because when the show is done and when the thing wraps, there'll be this emptiness, and it'll be tough to get away from that. And so enjoy it while it's there. Have a good time.
Use social media.
Well, I think with anything, it's about hard work. If you can cut your teeth in the world of live theater before getting in the world of film, I think you've got a little bit more preparation. Certainly, you're used to doing a lot more preparation. The great thing about film is you get 1,000 tries. But doing film, doing music, just because you have 1,000 tries doesn't necessarily mean you want to have to do 1,000 tries. So I think it's about learning that discipline of live theater and then bringing that into the world of film. But then, of course, you have that challenge of having to tone things down from the stage to film. You have to be big on stage, and it would look absolutely ridiculous to be big on film as a character. But I think for any actor, it's really about do as much work as you can, be in as much production as you can. If it's film, if it's on stage, if it's the background. My character doesn't say a word this entire film, which was an interesting challenge because usually dialogue will carry your work. Not having any lines means you have to do a lot more thinking about the way you express And that's, every eye movement, every eyebrow raise, every little thing counts. So, yeah, it's just about getting that discipline and learning that you have to tone it down and the differences between the two mediums.
Your face is the brand. Who you are is a brand. You need to sell your brand, which is you. So think of yourself as a brand and just mass market yourself. Get some business cards. Make sure you have those on you at all time, and make sure nobody forgets your name.
Keep doing it. I mean, just keep doing it. By all means necessary. You want to act. That's the thing that you do. You find a group of people who want to do it too, and you figure it out. By no means necessary is it easy. And I mean, I'm still working my way up the ladder, and I'm on the low end of the totem pole. And it feels like that a lot of the time, even when you have massive success. You just did something. And it's just a constant battle. I mean, it's just, job interview after job interview after job interview. Then all of a sudden you get stuck in an area. And then all of a sudden you just think, hey, maybe I need to take classes. People are like, oh, you need a class. You need to, tailor up on what you do. And the biggest thing is it's all about repetition. Read a damn book. Get a camera. Talk with friends, act out a quick scene, but just if you want to do it, keep doing it by how means necessary. And I think that's the biggest thing is it doesn't matter if you're 20 years old and nothing happens until you're 30. Nothing happens until you're 40. Guess what? That's what's beautiful about this thing is you can do this until you die. Until you die.
The biggest thing I got going on is just promoting Silenced and getting ready to do another project of my own.
Right now, not really any, but Julian called me to help him with featurettes for Silence. So I was like, okay, I can do that.
This past year I had to take a little bit of time off of acting because we just had a child. She's about to be a year now, so a little less time as far as acting goes because newborn takes a little bit of time. But I mean, commercials, the short films here and there, as much as you can get into at this point.
Berlin has its Horror Fest thing coming up in 2 weekends. It'll be the 7th one I've done. I'm excited to do that because I'm going to be working with my son. He's going to be helping me scare people. I have finished Felsen and Company presents The Fair Fight with Narrow Street Films. And aside from that, I got a couple of potentials, a couple of ideas, but I'm basically open and looking for, my next project and looking to get cast in something.
We got tons of content on my website. There's always something to look at. There's always something to, find. There's actually a Silence movie on the website as well. There's tons of new music by people that, I associate with, ranging from R&B to poetry, hip hop. There's definitely poetry of mine, poetry events that we have monthly. So if you're ever, in the Western Mass area, there's tons of events every Tuesday and Fridays and Saturdays all the time.
In terms of acting, I've kind of been retired from acting since Silenced. I had self-declared that I was retiring from theater and that whole thing back in 2014, I think March. So I haven't really done anything since then, with the exception of Silenced. And I think I'm probably going to stay on the other side of things for a while. I have a production of Death of a Salesman that I'm intending to direct coming up probably late spring, early summer, maybe as late as fall. It all depends on securing a venue. And I've got some screenplay stuff that I'm working on, screenplay script. I haven't decided the medium for it yet, but I'm still on a self-imposed retirement from acting.
Right now, I actually linked up with the director of Silenced, and we got something that's in the works that more to come. FYI, we got something in the works that's going on currently. I got cast in a film that's going to start this upcoming December, but I can't really say anything about that until the new year. Right here in Syracuse, that film's going to take place. Still pushing. Had a series shot in Chicago called Puckheads that we're sourcing around, and then it's just tell you the truth. Since I've been here, self-tape after self-tape after self-tape, audition after audition after audition after audition, but it's promising. That's all you can ask for is a shot at a role, a shot to be a part. And right now we're getting them. Knock on friggin' wood. We're getting them.
Pretty much just going through the months, waiting for big projects to come along, but nothing too fancy.
Doing the family life, working full time, raising a family. She's out.
Lately, I've just been enjoying life. When I'm not doing my own writing or projects, I'm working as a grip in the film industry. And when I'm not doing that, I'm thinking of the next project to get into.
I have a 9-year-old. He's great. He's the light of my life. I try to stay as involved in his activities as I can. I have my family, my wife, and I run this business that we're in the office now with some really, really dedicated people. They work EMS, paramedics, and stuff like that. And we do the ambulance service in Berlin, New Hampshire, and it's a real honor to be able to do that.
Work, my family, and just trying to enjoy life as much as possible, and also, learn as much as possible too, because there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of things out here that we can, learn from and gravitate to. So, you see my little stuff on the side, there's, some knickknacks of mine that, I like watching my shows. I like, like my movies, like Silenced. I like my animes. So I really like gaming, that too, and having fun. But I'm also about, entertainment. So if anybody ever wants to reach out to me and want to see like an event or go someplace, definitely the person to come to. So that's what I'm always, going to be doing for the rest of the year.
Right now, doing a little life transition. So that's fun. Personal life's doing a lot of changing, and I'm getting back into music. I'm working on a solo album, I guess. I've got 9 songs recorded right now, and again, we go back to like with film, you get 1,000 tries. So I think I've got about 15 versions of the same 9 songs, and just trying to polish those up. And that may lead to me putting a little band together and doing a little promotion work for that. I haven't quite decided. I haven't worked as a musician since 2008. So it's been 11 years, and the project's called 1111. So I figure I might just tie all that together and put that out this coming spring. Creatively, that's what I'm doing, and then, just like everybody else in the world, I do the 9 to 5.
I'm kind of lucky. I got a great position as a super for a really cool company. And basically I go into jobs and, I have a blueprint in front of me, and I orchestrate. Plumbers come in, orchestrate. This is what you got to do. Carpenters come in. This is what you got to do. Framers come in. This is what you got to do. And you have to manage it. And tell you the truth, I can take that, even though it's not related, I can take that to a film set, because on a film set, you have your grip, you have your crew members. Your crew members, each person is allotted a job, and as a director, you have to literally show those people the world. So even though it's not the same, it's kind of in the same realm, but it's still around the construction industry. And like I said, it pays the bills, and you got to do what you got to do until you don't got to do it anymore.
Hoorah!
people get typecasted all the time. And then as soon as you get typecasted, you know what? If you get typecast, hey, movies.